Well, guys, with the fall season rapidly approaching, it is now finally time to discuss the madness that is fall TV.
Don't change the channel, don't touch that dial. We got it all on UHF. Kick out the sneakers.
Hey guys, it's Kevin again. So, as you guys know, fall TV season has officially kickstarted, and usually at this time, I would be doing that massive video where I talk about all the fall shows coming out this season. And you know, it's usually very long, it's usually very informative, you guys really seem to enjoy it. I, on the other hand, really don't. I'm gonna be honest, those are probably, next to like my movie previews and things like that, those are my least favorite videos to edit. Mainly because half of the shows I discussed in that video, I either don't end up watching or I just don't care about, and I never really go back to them, and I just talk about them right there. So, instead what I'm going to do is basically do what I did with the summer shows and do my top 10 most anticipated fall shows. This way I can talk about things that I actually have things to say about, and not just talk about a bunch of middle-of-the-road fall TV, because I'm going to be honest, fall TV, not looking that great this season, at least across the 5 major networks. So instead, like I said, I'm going to be doing a top 10. I'm going to give you the ones that I am excited for. Then at the end, I will give you my official schedule for fall 2018, all the shows I do plan on reviewing. As I always say though, if I don't end up watching these shows, it's not because I don't want to, it's simply because I'm not going to have a ton of time. I've been very busy lately, and I just have not been as able to keep up with things, so if there's a show that I end up not watching, again, it's not because I don't want to, it's simply because I don't have the ability or time to watch it. But either way, guys, let's just dive into it, starting off with my honorable mentions. So even though, like I said, I don't think this is the strongest season for fall TV, that doesn't mean there is a shortage of stuff that I am actually really excited for. There definitely is some stuff out there that I do think looks pretty great, and of course, like I said, we are going to dive into the honorable mentions first, which there actually is a hefty amount of honorable mentions here, but in no particular order. I'm not going to go through these for that long, but we do have the first Forever, Sorry for Your Loss, The Good Cop, Mr. In Between, Into the Dark, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Tell Me a Story, My Brilliant Friend, which I don't know when that one's premiering, and Little Drummer Girl. But now, guys, we are going to get into the official top 10, starting off with number 10, which is a show that a lot of people are, in fact, anticipating, and of course it is...
Welcome to Outpost 3. The house rules are simple. You may never leave the building due to the danger of radiation contamination and no unauthorized copulation. No exception.
What's happening out there?
It's all gone.
Boring! Strangely satisfying, isn't it? Dispensing punishment. It's our world now, to remold as we see fit.
Yes, I know, of course, it's another American Horror Story season, and for some, that always is kind of problematic. It's like, oh no, why is this show still going on? However, I think with what this season is, this is probably the most excited anyone's been for American Horror Story in a while, and rightfully so, because this season is basically, it's basically a huge rarity in which not only are they going to do something really out there and weird, but they're actually going to be doing a crossover, and they're going to be, you know, obviously telling the story from Murder House and Coven. They're going to put those two worlds together. Characters are going to meet each other, but we also have this apocalypse storyline going on. And while I am over the moon about it, because I really do adore both of those seasons a lot, I think they're two of the best American Horror Story seasons out there, with some of the most interesting characters for sure. Especially because, you know, Coven was the first American Horror Story season I watched. Obviously, I am very excited for it. The reason why it's a little low on my list is just because I'm worried that because there's going to be a lot going on, I'm just a little bit on the fence of, is this actually going to work? Is it actually going to flow organically, or is it just going to be a giant clusterfuck? Because I am a little bit worried that that could end up happening, because there is a lot of characters here. There's a lot of people Ryan Murphy's bringing back, people that we haven't seen on the seasons in like forever. Dylan McDermott and Connie Britton are coming back. Taissa Farmiga is coming back. Frances Conroy is coming back. She has not had a major role on this show since like season 4. So a lot of alum is coming back here, and that's great. I'm just hoping that we're able to tell a good story and not just make it, oh, look, it's this character. Oh, look, it's this character. I'm really hoping they're able to do that. Characters also, because a lot of these characters aren't around anymore, like Madison and, you know, Fiona and people like that. They haven't since died in Coven, so I don't really know how they're going to bring them back. We'll have to see the way they're able to do that. I don't know if, like, Queenie's going to resurrect, because here's the thing, Misty Day, the character that's able to bring people back from the dead, she's dead as well, so I don't really know how they're going to be able to bring them back, how it's really going to work out. A lot of details of the season is relatively unknown. I do like the main story going on, that there's kind of like this devil cult, and it's all being controlled by Michael Landon. I think that's a very interesting story overall. I'm glad Kathy Bates is coming back. I'm very excited to see Jessica Lange come back. Even if it's one episode, I'm just glad they're able to get her back. You know, the show... Sure, the show's been really good, but it has not felt the same since she left. I definitely will agree with that, and I'm glad to see that she is coming back here. And like I said, I still am very excited for it, but one of the reasons I liked last season as much as I did, up until the ending, which I thought was a bit of just kind of petered out towards the end, is because it was a relatively simple story. It really only focused on those two characters and their ideologies. And this season, that's not exactly the case. There's going to be a lot to juggle. There's going to be a lot to do. Is Ryan Murphy able to pull it off? I'm not sure. But considering how sort of skeptical I've been of his last few productions, AHS Cult, Feud, American Crime Story, you know, Pose, all of those have delivered. All four of those shows have delivered immensely, much more than I expect them to. So I'm a little bit more excited for Apocalypse than I normally would be, but I still am just a little bit worried about it. But either way, guys, I think this has potential to be a really great season. I think if this goes as well as it possibly can, this could go down as one of the best seasons in American Horror Story history. I'm very excited to see what Ryan Murphy does have cooking up his sleeve, and for all those reasons, it definitely deserves to be number 10. Cannot wait for this, and definitely will be watching tonight at 10, because it truly does look fantastic. So number 9, we have a show that I'm sure a lot of people are also very much anticipating, but it's not as high as I thought it was initially going to be, and of course it is...
I'm a Romanov, and you're just pretending.
I'll never understand why people are impressed.
It's history.
This is all I want. For the line to continue.
Well, you'd think that royal blood dilutes over time, but the poison survives.
Sometimes I really wonder where you came from.
So you ruined her life because we're from a long line of rich assholes.
You still feel sad in the middle of this happiness? You really are Russian.
That was your snobby idea of what a family looks like.
What are you talking about?
Yes, the Romanovs, yet again, another anthology series, and look, I was astronomically excited for this. Like, I had huge anticipation. Just seeing that cast in general was just unreal. From Aaron Eckhart to Diane Lane to Corey Stoll to people like Carrie Bish, Paul Reiser, Isabelle Huppé. I mean, so much talent that I really do love here. And then, of course, the alum from Mad Men, like Christina Hendricks, and of course, I can't think of his name. John Slattery. There we go. John Slattery. They, of course, are coming back as well. And it's being helmed by Matthew Weiner, one of the greatest showrunners that's out there, with Mad Men, of course. Now, of course, I only saw the last few seasons of Mad Men, but I know that he's a brilliant showrunner, and I'm very excited to see what he does. The reason why this is a little low is because that trailer kind of underwhelmed me a bit. I wasn't the hugest fan of it. I do like the idea that each episode we're going to see, you know, these characters discover that they are in fact part of the Romanov family and kind of like how they deal with it. You know, how do they really internalize this news? You know, what has it really benefit them? I think there's a lot of interesting places you can take that. It just does not really seem like the show's going to take itself all that seriously, and that's fine. Like, Mad Men always had this sort of, biting, not satire, but it always did have some comedy in there, so I'm fine with that. I just don't really know how the show's going to turn out. As an anthology series, I don't really know how you keep this story going. You can't tell me it's fine if you have like 10 descendants of the Romanov family, but I just don't really know how this is going to continue. I don't know if this is going to just be one season, but I know it's an anthology. I'm glad that it is an anthology because I feel like it would be a complete mess if it's not. But either way, it is Matthew Weiner. I am excited for it. The trailer, like I said, did not impress me as much as I expected it to, but I do still think it could be really good. It's an Amazon show. You know, they've really been killing it lately, and I'm very excited to see how Romanovs does turn out. So for all those reasons, the Romanovs is definitely my number 9. So every single year, guys, we seem to have that one really great true crime show that really sticks out and everyone really talks about. And number 8, I think, could possibly be that show this fall.
I just figured you're friends with my friend. That makes us friends.
What's going on with you and Tilly?
Maybe we can arrange a get-together soon.
I'm down there every night. I'm cutting the pipe. I'm doing the work, and all you do is sleep.
Nobody knows about a marriage except the people in the marriage, and sometimes even they don't know.
So you want to be part of my dream?
Yes.
Say it.
Now, I'm going to be honest, I originally recorded this video thinking that there wasn't a trailer for this, that there just was this one image, but unbeknownst to me, there actually was, in fact, a trailer that was released on August 6th, and I have since, in fact, seen it, and I'll get to it in a little bit, but even without seeing that trailer, I still am extremely excited for this show, because just, you guys know me, when it comes to true crime, I am always down for it, and especially exploring prison life. One of my favorite limited series of this entire decade is The Night Of. Such a brilliant show that tells a very, I think, raw and dark portrayal of prison life, and especially of a man who doesn't really fit into that society and eventually conforms, and kind of like the consequences that really does have on him. There's a lot of potential there. The difference is with this show is that it's actually based on a true story. Now, I don't know too much about Escape at Dannemora. I didn't really hear much about it till now, but basically it's like these two guys who are accused of, I believe, homicide, and they decide to escape, and that sounds all great. That sounds really interesting. But then you look at the cast here, and you see Benicio del Toro, and you see Paul Dano, and you see Patricia Arquette, and then Bonnie Hunt, who could possibly kind of have this resurgence of her career here. I mean, really great cast overall. The trailer looks really great. It really looks like they're going to get into who these two guys really were, sort of the gray area that they really do fit into. Was it right what they did? You know, was this really just? All that kind of stuff just looks really interesting to me. I'm glad that it is a mini-series on Showtime and it is not one of those shows, because I feel like Showtime pretty much... Alright, number 7, we have one of the biggest surprise shows of the year, and it's finally returning, and of course it is... Last year, I was excited for American Vandal. I wasn't, like, over the moon about it. I wasn't, like, hyped out of my mind. But as you guys know, it turned out to be one of the biggest surprises of the entire year for me. Not only was it such a brilliant satire on, you know, true crime type documentaries and things like that, but it also told a really good story about these high school students and the masks that they wear and the type of people that they really are, and the face that they're not, you know, they're kind of afraid to show to, you know, modern society. And I think they did a very good job with that overall. I think it was just such a brilliant story. And this season, I will admit, doesn't look all that great. I don't love the idea of the turd burglar. I think it's kind of funny, but I just feel it might wear off after a while. However, a lot of people thought the same thing with the Who Drew the Dick. So, while I'm not as excited as I was for season, you know, while I'm not excited as I was initially before I watched the trailer, because I was hyped out on mine for it, was much higher on my list originally, I still don't think it's too much to worry about, mainly because, like I said, I thought that Season 1 wasn't really going to work, and it turned out to be way better than I expected it to, so I'm hoping Season 2 can give us another very smart narrative, you know, give us some really funny stuff, but also give us some really great characters to latch onto. I'm glad it's at a private school. I'm glad we're not continuing the story of Season 1. I think that's definitely the way to go. How Peter and Sam are going to be involved in this, I don't fully understand. I guess it's because American Vandal was such a success, and I love the breaking the fourth wall, by the way, in the trailer, where, like, they're literally on Netflix looking at season 1. Again, acting as if it was a true crime series. I just love how meta this series really is, but I'm very excited to see how this series does turn out. Can't wait for it to debut on Friday. So number 7 is absolutely American Vandal. Like I said, I don't think it looks as great as season 1, but I'm hoping it definitely does surprise me, because I do think it is one of the best shows that Netflix truly does have going on right now, and I really do hope it lives up to its promise. So that absolutely is number 7. So number 6, we have one of, I think, the most anticipated new shows for anyone this fall season, and of course it is...
Smiles are a little gift we give each other. That's the most beautiful part of yourself.
She left you because you're a pussy.
Please don't use a bad word when you can use a good word. Every pain needs a name. What do we think this one is called?
Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit with this one, because technically I've already seen the first episode. The first episode was, in fact, released early. I watched it with some friends, and I really enjoyed it, but I'm going to act as if I haven't seen it, and Kidding on its own, I think definitely does have a lot of potential, but when you look at the talent, when you see Jim Carrey and you see Michelle Gondry, that has me even more excited for, because Michelle Gondry, of course, did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I don't really remember, but I remember really enjoying it. I remember it being a very challenging material for Jim Carrey, and I think it's exactly the kind of show he needs right now. Coming off the heels of Jim and Andy, such a complex look of who Jim Carrey really was, this is exactly what we need. Also coming off the heels of One Should Be My Neighbor, since this is very much kind of like a Mr. Rogers type show. And you also have a stacked cast here. I mean, Frank Langella, Judy Greer, Catherine Keener. I mean, so much great talent behind this show. It looks really fun, but also looks like it's really going to give us a very deep look at grief and the regret that this one man does have. And I don't know how faithful this is going to be to Mr. Rogers, because again, it's not Mr. Rogers. It's basically its own thing, but it's supposed to be like a Mr. Rogers type show. And just from the first episode, the parallels are honestly already kind of endless. There are already a lot of things I can draw from Mr. Rogers that I think the show very much did take a lot of inspiration from, and I think that's really awesome. I'm very excited to see how the show does turn out. Jim Carrey is such a fantastic actor. I really am hoping this is the comeback show for him. What I'm seeing so far, I'm very impressed by. I'm not going to get into it too much. I'll just save it for the Season 1 review, but Kidding is a show that I'm absolutely excited to see how the rest of it does turn out, and for that reason alone, it is definitely number 6. Alright, number 5 is another one that does not really have a trailer yet, and that is one that I didn't even know was coming out. It wasn't announced till a couple weeks ago, and that is Mike Flanagan's new TV show, The Haunting of Hill House. And if you guys know, I am a huge fan of Mike Flanagan. Everything he's done, well, at least everything I've seen for the most part, I've absolutely adored, minus Before I Wake, but, you know, between Hush and Ouija Origin of Evil and Gerald's Game, I think Flanagan is really building himself to be one of the best talents out there when it does come to horror, and I'm really excited to see what he does with the show. It's kind of like a culmination of everything for the most part, because he's getting all of the actors he's previously worked with and putting them in this show. And I'm talking from Carla Gugino to Henry Thomas to Elizabeth Reeser to Michael Heisman to Kate Siegel, who's been in every single one of these, obviously. Lulu Wilson is coming back. I mean, there's a lot of potential for this show. I don't entirely know what it's about. I don't really want to know much of what it's about. I just want to know that it's Mike Flanagan. It has a very talented cast. I think it has a lot of potential. As a show on Netflix, I'm very excited to see how it does turn out. Flanagan has been, like I said, absolutely dominating it lately. I will definitely be watching Ouija Origin of Evil prior to this film, because that's the only one I haven't seen in a while. I might watch Hush as well, but we'll have to see. Either way, I am so excited to see how this show does turn out. Just hearing the words Mike Flanagan and Netflix, it's worked 2 times before, and I really do think lightning is going to I do think he is going to be 3 for 3 here. I think this is going to be another very successful project for Flanagan. I really hope he does not let me down, and for that reason alone, it is number 5. Cannot wait for this show. Now, if you guys notice, the majority of these shows on this list are, in fact, either from cable or from premium platforms. They are not from the major 5 networks. However, there is still one show that never lets me down that I can always rely on, and of course, that is...
And you don't wanna be I guess no, I'm not crazy. We hope this helps.
What?
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend Season 4 has me so excited for many reasons. One, this is in fact the last season, and I'm glad that they're going in with that mindset. You know, CW is another network that just tries to milk all of their shows. Look at Supernatural. Look at any of the CW shows right now, which I will be watching the CW shows. Don't get me wrong, I will in fact catch up on them. But I'm not going to lie, they really never let anything end. It's always when the network wants it to end, and I'm glad that both Rachel Bloom and Aline Brosh McKenna were able to end Crazy Ex-Girlfriend when they wanted to. It was supposed to be a 4-season arc, and it's going to end as such, and I am very happy that they have that end in sight. I think that's a very good mindset to have, so that alone has me excited. But also because this season's going to be 18 episodes. And while I really love both seasons 2 and 3, the thing I think they've suffered from is that they just felt a little bit rushed. It's felt like they could dive into things more, and they just didn't. So the fact that this is 18 episodes, I think is definitely the right way to go. There's a lot of stuff they're going to get into here. Skylar Astin is going to be recasted as Greg, but from the way they described it, I think it actually does make a lot of sense. Very excited to see how that does turn out. Of course, we know Rebecca's in jail right now, and we're going to see how she really does deal with that. There's a lot of places this season can really go. CW's kind of been very hush-hush. They haven't released any trailers or anything yet, and honestly, I don't really know if I want to see any footage from this season, because this is one of those shows where I just kind of want to go into it as blind as possible. There's a lot of potential for this 4th season, and I'm really hoping it does deliver. Even when the show, I think, is at its worst, it's still one of the most entertaining and fun shows on TV. It still is one of those shows that every time it's on, I always get excited to watch it. I think this season has the potential to possibly be the best one, solely because of those 18 episodes, solely because there's a lot they can do there, and because it's going to be the culmination of everything. I'm very excited to see what they really do here. You know, obviously, we're going to dive, I think, even deeper into Rebecca's psyche. As we saw at the end of the 3rd season, she is trying to turn her life around. How does that really go? Is she going to end up with Nathaniel? Is she going to end up alone? Is she going to make amends with Paula? I mean, there's so many things we can really dive into here. I'm very excited to see where the season does go, and for that reason alone, it is absolutely my number 4. Absolutely hyped for the return of the show, and I really hope it does not let me down. So number 3, there are a lot of really great shows on Netflix coming on, but easily my most anticipated is...
Once you begin to appreciate the structure of the mind, there's no reason to believe that anything about us can't be changed. Pain can be destroyed. The mind can be solved.
At least new shows wise, Maniac is without a doubt my most anticipated new Netflix show. This show looks fantastic. Of course, there is the combined efforts of Jonah Hill and Emma Stone that always had me very excited, because these are two people who haven't done TV before. They're not known for being TV actors, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do with this show. But the premise of the show in general seems really interesting. It's these two people in like a mental institution, and they kind of like are fantasizing that they're in a different world and that they're able to be together, and this kind of gets them together. I don't exactly know, but it looks really dreamlike, and the show in general, it looks like it's going to have a lot of things to say about someone who is a bit insane and things like that, and maybe get more into the fantastical world of that stuff. Justin Theroux as well is coming back here, and I think this is definitely the show he needs right now. I don't know if it's going to be Kevin Garvey level, obviously, but I'm very excited to see what he does here. Sally Field, Billy Magnuson, a lot of really talented actors, I think populate the show. I think there's a lot of potential for this one. This is another one that the trailer doesn't tell you a ton. We still don't really know a lot of what's really going on in the show, but that really does have me very excited. I think there's a lot of potential for the show for sure. I'm very excited to see how this one does turn out, and for that reason alone, it is absolutely my number 3. Alright, so number 2 and number 1 were so close. Like, honestly, they were very close, but ultimately, this one did end up being my number 2. It is easily my most anticipated return of the entire fall season, and of course, that is Look, you guys know me. There are a few shows out there that I absolutely adore, and I just love to dissect and talk about, and Bojack Horseman is one of those shows that truly never lets me down. Every single time a season comes out, I end up finishing it within a day, and I think that's going to be the same with this season. What I really love about Season 5, though, is that the details are relatively unknown. Even the trailer they recently released, we don't really know what this season is about. It looks like it's basically Bojack trying to clean up his life and obstacles get in the way. The thing is, though, that's been the theme of the previous 3 seasons. So there's definitely a bigger story here that they're just not showing us. And I'm honestly glad. I don't want to know what's going on this season. I don't want to know what the main story is. And I'm glad that they're being very tight-lipped about it. I think there's a lot of potential for this show overall. There's a lot of places we can really go this season. Obviously, we now know that Hollyhock is his sister and not his daughter. I'm interested in seeing how that dynamic is going to be, because it does seem like they're going to continue that, which I'm happy about. Bojack is now in his own show. Is he going to try to get back on good terms with Princess Carolyn? You know, is he going to make amends with pretty much everyone? Diane seems like she's kind of a wreck this season. You know, what's really going to happen with her? Are her and Mr. Peanut Butter officially going to get a divorce? It very much seems like they're headed in that direction overall. This show just has tons of potential. It never fails to disappoint me. I don't really know where we're going this season, but honestly, I'm not really all that concerned about that. I really do want to see where it's going to go. I am a little bit upset that they're releasing at the same time as American Vandal, because those are 2 shows I absolutely adore. I'm not sure which one I'm going to get to first, but either way, I am so excited to see how this show does in fact turn out. I think it is one of the ballsiest, one of the most essential, and it's one of the best shows out there to deal with mental illness and to deal with drug abuse and the lasting effects that it does have on a person. And of course, one of the best things of the show, of course, are those consequences. You know, those things are permanent. They're not going to be able to go away, and I'm just really excited to see where the show does go. It's one of the smartest written shows out there right now. It's one of the best shows out there right now, and I am really hoping that it lives up to its promise. Bojack Horseman Season 5, it just has so much anticipation. I've not heard any critic reviews or anything. Can't wait to see how this show does turn out, and I'm, again, really hoping that it is just as strong as the previous 3 seasons have been, because it definitely looks fantastic here. Alright, now, number 1 might surprise a lot of you, but this is a show that the second I heard about it, I was extremely excited for it, and that, of course, is...
Shall we get started?
Say what you want about Mr. Robot, but I don't think you can watch the show and not tell me that Sam Esmail is one of the ballsiest writers we have right now. I think he personally is one of the best showrunners out there, and the reason for that is because he doesn't do what you want him to do. He doesn't try to cater to fans. He does what he thinks is right for the show, and that is why Mr. Robot, for me, has been one of the most consistent shows on TV. Unfortunately, one, I have yet to finish Season 3, which, again, that wasn't deliberate. I just, unfortunately, was not able to get to it. 2, Season 4 is not coming out till next year, which as well is their final season. So thankfully, we do have Homecoming to replace it. And knowing that Mr. Robot is coming to an end, Homecoming does seem like a pretty solid follow-up. I think this is going to be another really great show from Sam Esmail. I don't really know a ton about it, but the cast here is just phenomenal. I mean, Julia Roberts, Bobby Cannavale, Shea Wiggum, you got Dermot Mulroney, Sissy Spacek's gonna appear. I mean, a really great cast overall. Every episode's only going to be 30 minutes, surprisingly, which I think is really interesting. We don't really know a ton about this show. It's basically just about this woman who works at this, like, secret government facility, and she's trying to, like, rejoin civilian life. We don't really know a ton more about it than that, but either way, Sam Esmail, like I said, I think he's one of the best showrunners out there right now. He's so careful with everything he does. There's so much intricate details that he throws into every single show that he does. He's one of those showrunners that forces you to pay attention to every single frame, and I'm really hoping that Homecoming is just as like that. I think this is a show that is going to be very addicting. I think I'm going to binge it very quickly. It's only going to be 6 episodes, and That is fine. I think it's absolutely the show that Amazon does need right now. I'm really hoping Sam Esmail has another really great hit on his hands, because as much as I do love Mr. Robot, I don't want him to be a one-trick pony. I want him to be able to continue to work as great as he did on that show with other projects, and I'm really hoping that Homecoming is everything that I want it to be. The second I saw Sam Esmail, Julia Roberts, and Amazon, I immediately knew that this was going to be my number one. It's a show that I don't want to watch the trailer, but at the same time, I just want to know more about it. I can't wait to dive deep into the show. I'm really hoping it doesn't let me down. Like I said, I think it has massive potential behind it, and I'm just really hoping the show turned out to be as good as I think it is. I'm hoping I'm not just hyping it up, but for all those, it's gotten rave reviews at TIFF. I've heard fantastic things about it. I know, like, the first, 3 episodes, I think, screened there, and I've heard really great things about it overall, but I am very excited to see how this show does turn out. I know there's not a lot of footage or anything like that, but just hearing Sam Esmail alone and seeing that Julia Roberts is going to be in it and seeing the cast and knowing that this is going to be an Amazon show and that's only going to be 30 minutes, it just has me very excited to see what the final product is going to be. And for all of those reasons and more, Homecoming absolutely is my number one most anticipated show of fall 2018. Alright, so now we get to the part that I absolutely hate doing. That, of course, is me talking about every single show that I'm going to be watching this fall. I'm going to go through this really quickly. If you guys do, if I miss one or something like that, I am going to post the full list of shows I'll be watching in the description. Of course, I'm going to go by day. That doesn't mean I'm going to be reviewing these shows on that day. It just means that's the show that I'm going to be watching when that day does come out. So we're going to start off with Sunday. Of course, we have Doctor Who, which some of these shows I know I'm behind on, but I'm going to try to catch up on them. We have Doctor Who, Outlander, Supergirl, The Walking Dead, The Deuce. I know I got to get to that one as well. Kidding and Camping. Then on Monday, we have Arrow, which I got to catch up on. Legends of Tomorrow, Better Call Saul, Lodge 49, Little Drummer Girl, and Escape at Dannemora. Oh, wait, that's on Sunday. Escape on Dannemora is also on Sunday. Tuesday, we then have The Flash, which I will catch up on. The Gifted, which I gotta catch up on as well. Black Lightning, This Is Us, Mayans MC. I'm gonna try to watch the Purge TV show just for shits and giggles. We'll see if I do, but I'm gonna try to watch that one. Mr. In Between and Sorry for Your Loss. And then on Wednesday, just Riverdale and American Horror Story Apocalypse. Nothing too crazy going on that day. And then Thursday, we have, I'm gonna try to get into The Good Place. I know I say it every single season, but I really do want to try to get into this show and Tell Me a Story over on CBS All Access. Friday's just Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And then as far as Netflix does go, I will be watching American Vandal. Some of these I know have already premiered, but I am going to get to them. So I do plan on watching American Vandal, Atypical, Bojack Horseman, Castlevania, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, The Good Cop, The Haunting of Hill House, Iron Fist, Jack Ryan, Maniac, Narcos Mexico, and Ozark. And then on Amazon, I will be watching Forever, Homecoming, and the Romanovs. And then finally over on Hulu, I will be watching The First and Runaways. And with that, guys, that's it. That is everything that I am looking forward to and will, in fact, be watching this fall. Comment down below and let me know what shows you guys are looking forward to in the fall. Once again, I'm sorry if I don't get to all of these shows, which I more than likely won't. I mean, there's a hefty amount of shows on this list for sure, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get to all of them, but I'll try to get through as many as I possibly can. But again, let me know what shows you guys are looking forward to this fall. Link in the description below for all of the trailers I talk about, but also for all of the shows I will be watching overall. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.